Good day, everyone. For today's video, we are going to discuss about simplifying radical expressions. A radical expression is an expression containing a square root. A radical is the symbol that is used to denote square root or end roots. Radicand is a number or expression inside the radical symbol. So ito po yung itsura ng ating the format or the components of a radical expression. Meron tayong index, yung number po na maliit na nasa radical, of course, the radical symbol, and then yung term po or expression or mga variables or number na nasa loob ng radical, ang tawag po natin dyan ay radicand. Some examples of radical expressions are square root of 2, cube root of 4x squared, square root of 5 over 7y, 6 plus fifth root of 8z, and negative square root of 7mn over 9. To simplify radical expressions, kailangan alam natin ang laws of radicals. Kasi ayan ang gagamitin natin para makapag-simplify tayo or masimplify natin ang mga radical expressions. So, una is the product property of radicals. For any real numbers a and b and any integer n, wherein n greater than 1, if n is even, then n root of ab is equal to quantity n root of a times quantity n root of b, where a greater than 0 and b greater than 0. If n is odd, then n root of a times b is equal to quantity n root of a times quantity n root of b. The quotient property of radicals, for any real numbers a and b, which is b is not equal to 0, and any integer n greater than 1, if n is even, a is greater than 0, so we have n root of a over b is equal to n root of a over n root of b. Third law of radicals, for any real number a and any integer m and n greater than 1, m greater than 1, if m and n are even and a is greater than 0, then mn root of a is equal to n root of m root of a or m root of n root of a. And then, for any real numbers a and b, where a is not equal to 0 and b is not equal to 0, and integer n greater than 1, if n is even, a is greater than 0 and b is greater than 0, therefore, we can say that a over b quantity raised to 1n is equal to a raised to 1 over n over b raised to 1 over n is equal to n root of a over n root of b. And also, since we are not allowed to have a radical as the denominator of the radicand, kailangan nire-rationalize natin yung denominator ng radicand. So, ano po ba ibig sabihin nun? Paano po ba? Rationalizing the denominator of the radicand is the process of removing the radical sign in the denominator that is making the radicand non-fractional. Kailan po ba natin masasabi na ang radical expression ay naka-simplified form? So, meron po tayong 4 na conditions for simplified radicals. The first one, the index is as small as possible. Second, the radicand contains no factor other than 1, which is the power of an integer or polynomial. Third, the radicand contains no fractions. And then the last one, no radicals appear in the denominator. Kaya nag-rationalize tayo. Let us have some examples. So simplify the following radical expressions. For example 1, we have square root of 250. Since 250 is not a perfect square, kailangan po natin siya i-factor out. Isip po tayo ng factors ni 250 na kung saan yung isang factor niya ay perfect square. So, 25 times 10 po yan. Kasi si 25 times 10 is equal to 250. At saka si 25 kasi is a perfect square. Kaya dito, meron tayong square root of 25 times square root of 10. Then, evaluate po natin si square root of 25. So, ang square root po ni 25 ay 5. Kasi 5 times 5 is 25. Kaya ang square root ni 25 ay 5. Ngayon, si 5, i-multiply natin siya ngayon dito kay square root of 10. Okay, bakit as is po siya? Square root of 10 po kasi, wala naman pong exact value yung square root of 10. Kaya as is lang po. And then, i-multiply po natin 5 times square root of 10. Our final answer is 5 square root of 10. For example 2, we have 4th root of 256, x raised to 4, y raised to 8. So, apply the product property of radicals. I-break down po natin ito. So, factor out po natin siya. So, kapag pinactor out po natin siya, ang kalalabasan po niyan is 4th root of 256 times 4th root of x raised to 4 times 4th root of y raised to 8. So, mapapansin ninyo, ito po, pinaghiwa-hiwalay ko lang po siya. Si 256 po kasi, meron po yung 4th root. Bakit po may 4th root siya? Kasi si 256 is equal to 4 raised to 4. Or if you're going to multiply 4 times by itself, that is equal to 256. So, pag in-evaluate po natin ito, okay po, same lang po siya dito. 256 is equal to 4 raised to 4. And then dito, bakit siya naging x? Applying the property of nth root, kapag pareho si index kay power ni radicand, ang naiiwan na lang po or yung sagot po natin is the radicand itself. And then dito, 4th root of y raised to 8, bakit kaya naging y squared siya? So, ilang 4 po ba meron kay 8? Meron po tayong dalawang 4 kay 8 kasi 'di ba 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So, kapag ganito, ang gagawin lang po natin, you copy the radicand, the base of the radicand, which is y, and then, you divide the power, which is 8. 8 divided by 4, that is 2. Kaya y squared po tayo dito. And then, ito po, diba? 4 na yan, yung index, and then 4 din po itong kanyang power. So, ang kukunin lang natin is 4. And then, i-multiply lang po natin yan. So, our final answer, ang 4th root po ni 256 ay 4. And then, ito po yung x natin kanina. And then, yung y squared. I-multiply po natin yan. So, our final answer is 4x y squared. The simplified form of 4th root of 256x raised to 4y raised to 8 is equal to 4xy squared. For our example 3, we have square root of 100m raised to 4th over 625 n squared. So, to simplify the given radical expression, apply the quotient property of radicals, na kung saan pwede po nating paghiwalayin itong numerator and denominator. Kaya dito, kung napansin niyo, meron akong square root of 100m raised to 4 over square root of 625 n squared. So, si 100 po at saka si 625 po, they are both perfect squares. Same with this one, m raised to 4th and n squared. So, ang gagawin lang po natin, i-evaluate lang po natin itong nasa taas, yung numerator, tapos i-evaluate nyo lang din po yung nasa baba. So, ang square root po ni 100, square root ni 100 ay 10, kasi 10 times 10 is 100. And then, square root po ni m raised to 4, okay? Since square root yan, wala kayong nakikitang number na nakalagay dyan na maliit. Pero understood po, automatic po yan na ang index po ni square root ay 2. So, kung ang index natin dito ay 2, meron tayong 4 doon, you copy the variable m. And then, divide nyo yung power, 4, divide by 2. Kaya meron tayong m squared dito. And then, sa denominator naman, saan nanggaling si 25n? Okay, square root ni 625 ay 25. Kasi 25 times 25 is 625. Kaya ang square root ni 625 ay 25. Then, square root ni n squared is n. Kasi 2 divided by 2 is 1. So, n raised to 1 is equal to n. So, meron tayong 10m squared over 25n. Na kung saan, pwede pa natin itong i-reduce or i-simplify pa kasi si 10 at si 25, meron silang greatest common factor which is 5. So, i-divide po natin si 10 by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Then, 25 divided by 5 is 5. So, our final answer is 2m squared over 5n. For our example 4, we have cube root of 128b raised to 5, c raised to 4, d cubed. So, apply the product property of radicals. We have to factor out the given radical expression. Ang kalalabasan po niyan is ganito. Okay, bakit po ganyan yan? Bakit nagkaroon po tayo ng dalawang factors? Okay, una, 128 is not a perfect cube. Since 128 is not a perfect cube, kailangan mag-isip tayo ng factors ni 128 na yung isa ay perfect cube. Kaya meron tayo dito 64 at saka 2. Kasi 64 times 2 is equal to 128. Si 64 po ay perfect cube po yan. Bakit po kaya naging perfect cube? If we are going to multiply 4 3 times by itself, 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. Kaya si 64 po ay naging perfect cube. Then, kung titignan nyo po si variable b, bakit 3 na lang yan? From b raised to 5, ang index po kasi natin dito ay 3. So, ang goal natin, para matanggal po natin yung radical or yung cube root, kailangan yung index po maging pareho sa mga power. Kaya kung titignan nyo dito sa unang factor ko, lahat ng power, 64 is perfect cube, di ba? Then ito, ang exponent or power niya is 3. This is also 3. This is also 3. Which are the same with our index. Okay. Balik tayo dito. B raised to 5. Ilang 3 po ba meron sa 5? Isa, di ba? Merong isang 3 sa 5. So, ilan ang sobra? Dalawa. Kaya dito, ang nilagay ko, b cube. Tapos, yung sobrang dalawa, nilagay ko dito sa isa pang factor. Same din dito sa c raised to 4. Ilang 3 po ba meron sa 4? Meron tayong isa. Ilan ang sobra? Isa. Kasi 3 plus 1 is 4, diba? So, dito ko nilagay si 3, c cube. Then, yung sobrang isa, nilagay ko po dito. Then, d cube. Since si d cube, sakto naman yan, dito siya sa unang factor. Kaya, yung dalawang factors natin, nung finactor out natin ito, itong given radical expression, ang unang factor natin is cube root of 64b cubed c cubed d cubed times cube root of 2b squared c raised to 1. Okay, next, evaluate natin to. Okay, applying the property of nth root wherein kapag pareho na ang index sa power ng radicand, pwede na natin silang kuhanan ng n root or cube root. So, cube root of 64 is 4. Since 4 times 4, 16 times 4 is 64. Then, ito, cube root of b cube, or since parehas yan, you just copy the radicand, excluding the power, of course, so bilang. And then dito, c. And then, cube root of d cube is d. Ito, nasa labas na yan, magiging coefficient na siya. And then, yung second factor natin, kung mapapansin nyo, kinopya ko lang. Pero dito, since 1 yan, okay lang po na kahit na hindi na isulat yung power. Okay, bakit ko po ito kinopya? Kasi ito po yung naiwan dun sa radical sign. Dahil wala namang pong cube root of 2b squared c. So, as is po yan. And then, imumultiply po natin itong dalawang factors. So, our final answer will be 4BCD cube root of 2B squared C. Si 4BCD, naging coefficient na po siya. And then, ito po yung ating radical. So, the simplified form of cube root of 128, b raised to 5, c raised to 4d cube is 4bcd cube root of 2b squared c. For our last example, example 5, we have 3 over 5th root of 2. So, as you can see dito, meron tayong radical as denominator of the radical. So, according dun sa conditions for simplified radicals, yung number 4, condition number 4, hindi tayo pwedeng magkaroon ng radical sa denominator. So, para matanggal yan, kailangan nating i-rationalize yung denominator. So, paano po natin gagawin yon? When rationalizing the denominator of the radical, kung ano po yung nandito, since ang ating radical is 5th root, kailangan, para matanggal yan, yung power ni 2, kailangan maging 5 din siya. Okay, so mapapansin niyo sa ating solution, we just copy the given radical expression, 3 over 5th root of 2, and then minultiply natin siya dito. Bakit po 5th root of 2 raised to 4 po? Hindi ko po siya minultiply sa 5th root of 2. Una po, tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, since ang index natin ay 5, kailangan yung power nito ay maging 5 din para matanggal natin yung radical sign. So, dito kasi sa given, 2 raised to 1 lang yan. Isang 2 lang yan. So, 1 lang ang kanyang exponent or power. So, paano natin gagawing 5 ang exponent ni 2? Kulang pa tayo ng 4. Kaya dun ko po minultiply. Kaya dito po natin minultiply kay 5th root of 2 raised to 4. Siyempre, kung ano yung lagay natin dito, yun din po dapat ang ilalagay sa taas. Then, proceed sa multiplication. Meaning, 3 times 5th root of 2 raised to 4. Tapos ito, 5th root of 2 times 5th root of 2 raised to 4. So, ang kalalabasan po, 3 times 5th root of 2 raised to 4 is 3 5th root of 2 raised to 4. And then dito, kung makikita ninyo, ang 5th root of 2 times 5th root of 2 raised to 4 is equal to 5th root of 2 raised to 5. Bakit raised to 5 na siya? Ito, 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 4. We just add the exponents, kaya naging 5 po siya. Then, na-achieve po yung goal natin na si index ay mapareho sa power. So, kapag ganyan, yung denominator natin, pwede na natin applyan ng property of n root. Kaya ang kalalabasan po is 2. Pwede na nating matanggal yan. Cancel out mo yung 5th root at saka yung power na 2. Na 5. So, ang kinalabasan sa denominator natin ngayon ay 2. Sa numerator naman po natin, since 2 raised to 4 yan, i-evaluate po natin siya. So, 2 raised to 4, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Ngayon, bakit siya as is? Kasi wala naman pong 5th root of 16. So, kinapi lang natin siya. So, our numerator is 3 5th root of 16. And then, denominator natin is 2. So, that is our final answer. So, the simplified form of 3 over 5th root of 2 is 3 5th root of 16 over 2. Thank you for watching and see you next time.